Welcome to Create, Build, Manage, the Entrepreneur's Toolbox.
Welcome to Create, Build, Manage on BizTV. I'm Kelli Phillips. Today we're joined by Toni Jones to discuss her affirmation music and the healing journey that she's on. Stick around, we'll be right back with more Create, Build, Manage. She's been a life coach and a mental health advocate for women and youth, and now she is an affirmation musician. Here with more is Toni Jones. Now, Toni, before we get into what an affirmation musician is, I want you to go back and I want you to give us your background of where you're from, what life was like, and how it led you to what you're doing today.
Well, thank you so much for having me and, holding space for how I show up in the world. I was a life coach helping women heal from workaholism. And then my full-time position, I was helping students and staff reimagine the school experience at high schools in Detroit, Michigan. So I was already in the whole, show up and help the world, serve the world space. And in 2019, everything changed. I lost my job. It was like the 2020 pandemic happened for me in 2019. And so when I lost my dream job, I went into a mental health crisis, but yet I had dropped my first affirmation album in 2019 during Women's History Month, and it catapulted. So my personal life was doing this, and then my career was doing this. And I was like, wait a minute, there's something here. And I had prayed. I said, I told Spirit, I said, I need something to help my clients practice well-being on the go. And I got this download, affirmation music, and it took off. And then so I have been changing, pivoting ever since. And so, and essentially, I know we're going to get more into it, but essentially affirmation music is helping people talk to themselves better. And again, I could talk about that for the next 3 hours about helping people talk to themselves better through affirmation music. But that's a little bit about me, though.
So affirmation music, what was that aha moment for you? Because like you said, your personal life was going down, but your professional life was taking off. At what point was it that you went, I've got something here. I can make a difference now?
Oh, I love to tell this part of the story because when I just kind of gave you guys a blurb that my mental health was in crisis, I literally did not want to live. I did not like life. I was like, I don't think this is for me. And I had just dealt with a lot of relational trauma. And so I dealt with a lot and struggled with suicidal ideation. So in closing out 2019, I was in a psych ward. And when I got out, I literally had no vision of my life because my mental health was just completely trash, y'all. So when 2020 hit, I said, you know what? If I'm going to be here, if I'm going to live here, I have to figure out how to like life again. So, it was to a point where eating fruit became my purpose for the day. I was that fragile, that vulnerable to life and positivity. I was just like, I have to take this moment by moment. So in 2020, I made a commitment, no matter what happens this year, my mental health, me regulating my nervous system has to be top priority. That has to be the purpose. And that shifted my whole paradigm of how I approach life because so much of my value and my identity was defined by being valuable to other people. And when 2020 hit, it was like, how do I create value by being valuable and beneficial to me? So all of 2020 happened, and then I started creating my next album. By the end of 2020, I say around October, I say, you know what? I'm going to close down my coaching business and I'm going to pursue affirmation music full time. So I would definitely have to say, when I made that intention to make me the the world that I wanted to change. I'm the client that I'm serving. When I made that my intention in 2020, I saw that affirmation music is not just something that I'm creating for the world. I was creating for myself first. So I became my first client with affirmation music. So essentially what I'm doing with my music is I am creating music, creating affirmations the way I want to talk to myself. And then I share it with the world. And it's shown me so much. And when I started paying my cell phone bill and my car note with this, passive income from the music, I was like, oh, wait a minute, I got something. So it was that really made me realize I have something and I'm going to pursue this full time.
Do you think a lot of women are in the same situation? And maybe just not women, maybe men as well. But I mean, we live in this busy world, but I know for women in particular, I mean, we put so much of the focus on everybody else and we put ourselves to the back burner. But if we don't take care of ourselves first, how are we going to be able to take care of the others?
So I'm going to do my best to not make this a TED Talk because this topic I'm so passionate about. There is a term that is floating on social media around decentering men. And I think it's less about decentering the male and more so decentering the patriarchy that has conditioned and programmed women to identify their value by being in service to the nuclear family, to the community, to the world. And when we get rewarded and honored by being martyrs for serving the external world, but literally nothing works well sustainable wise if an individual is not well cared for. So I think definitely women worldwide are really confronted with their bandwidth right now because so much of these paradigms that have been given to us to define our womanhood, to define our humanity, to define our virtue, they're crumbling. They're not working as well as we thought as well as we fantasize about. They're real true responsibilities. Motherhood, marriage, running a business, leading, communities and spaces of advocacy. It's a lot of work. So wellness and well-being, I would say, is the gospel for women right now, especially modern day women who are reimagining their lives through wellness, taking care of the self. So I definitely agree that is something that women are experiencing worldwide.
So I've got to ask about your affirmation music, and you write everything. Where do you get your inspiration?
My mess.
Your mess?
My mess. My mess. Just it's the trauma of childhood, the different things that we grew up around. The trauma of not having it all figured out. We live in the Western society, we live in such a way where in society where we're conditioned to think that we have to have everything picture perfect when it comes to our finances, when it comes to our fitness, when it comes to parenting our children, like have everything mathed out in a way where it's perfect. And that's not life. Life is messy. Growth isn't linear, it's messy and it can be chaotic, but it's how we respond and navigate to it to where it's more, it brings about a certain level of release to where we don't have to be in control all the time. So I definitely think that affirmation music helps people reimagine the way they talk to themselves while they're navigating life.
So what you write and what you sing, you have basically written it down and you are living proof, but you're also teaching others it's okay what you're going through because we're all going through it. Sometimes people don't show it, but we all have the same issues.
Yeah, I like to say I'm taking my medicine in front of everybody. So it's when I write down my music and when I'm thinking about what do I want to say in my albums, it's what do I need to hear? How can I talk to myself better about my financial management? How can I talk to myself better about how I'm healing my mindset from being so addicted to hustle culture and I'm bullying myself from productivity? How would I talk to myself if I was a loving God? If I was a loving lover, partner? You see what I'm saying? A mentor. And then I write that down and then I share with other people. So I love to say I'm literally taking my own medicine. I am the student of my music first, and then I share with everybody else, and it resonates with the times and with people.
Toni, I've got lots more questions, especially like who your musical influences are, etc. If you would, will you stick around and we'll get to that when we come back?
Sure.
All right, we'll be right back with Toni Jones. And we are back with Toni Jones to talk more about her affirmation music. And Toni, I've got to ask, who are some of your musical influences?
I would have to say all of Motown, number one. I'm from Detroit, so I have to shout Motown.
Absolutely.
Motown just has this nostalgic, family, feel-good vibe that was just so universal. So I've always adopted that framework of positivity and universal language of feeling good and dance and enjoying others in my creative process. I would definitely say Nikki Giovanni as well. Some of the great poets have put words onto music, and they have influenced me as well. And I like my artists I have some of my favorite artists like Tupac, Kanye West, Lauryn Hill. For me to be a fan, I like my artists to be a little messy. So, when I mean Kanye, Lauryn Hill, and Tupac, I like them to have that messy authenticity. I like them to have that raw humanity, which influences the way that I create, because I'm always enrolling myself. Is this my truth, or is this something that I'm performing, for it to be positive? It has to be authentic. It has to come raw from my own experience. So those are some of my influences for sure.
What has the response been to your music? And do you have like a following, and do your followers have a particular name to them?
So, you know what? I don't think I'll ever get used to the way this music lands for people. But one thing that has shown me is that music, and you can Google this, you can YouTube this, music has a medicinal legacy. Music has always been used to be medicine, not because it's this hippie practice. It's because of our neurological and quantum makeup of our existence, of our bodies. Music influences us on a vibrational, on a cellular level. So when people push play on this music, they're immediately saying these lyrics that are affirming themselves. So it's not just inspirational music. It's not just motivational music. It is medicine to the parts of us where we criticize, shame ourselves, hate ourselves the most. The way we talk to ourselves when we wake up in the morning, the things that we say to ourselves when it comes to finances and parenting, and the way we run our businesses, and so on and so on and so on. So when people are listening to this music, there's a healing aspect that's happening. And it's not just my music. If you turn on some party music, people want to party. If you want to turn on some music that's all about pride and feeling your ego, and, you're going to feel that mood. So when you put on healing music, you're tapping into the mood and vibration and the feeling of that music. And so I intentionally created music that heals your self-talk. So while you're vibing to it, you're saying these lyrics, but you're speaking to yourself in a more loving, compassionate way. And so the people who, congregate around this music and say, hey, this has changed me in this way. I've gotten a better job, or I started a business. It's healed my relationship with my mother. I'm no longer doing drugs anymore. Just the range of testimonies is just wild. It's such a testament that music is medicine. And so what I have coined the the community of people that have congregated around affirmation music is Affirmation. We are a nation that affirms not only ourselves, but we affirm one another. So all of this therapy, self-love, self-help that we're doing individually, we're congregating together in this virtual community. We also do, we do in-person meetups. I call them field trips because I just love that nostalgic vibe of bringing the inner child out and play. So we do quarterly field trips as well. But this space is for people who are talking to themselves better. They are opting into this music, not just as a personal development tool, but as a healing tool so they can have better relationships with themselves. Because, and I'll leave this to this question. I'll answer this, say this, that healthy communication is the core requirement to healthy relationships. So when we talk to ourselves better, we talk to one another better. So Affirmation is a community of people that actually value that and practice that.
Now, going back to something that you said earlier, that you were in a very fragile place, but I can see by talking to you today, you're in an incredible place. Have you seen that same transformation in other people that have listened to you, to listen to your music?
Yes.
How does that make you feel?
Growth and healing and transformation is not a one-time event. You can't even count on one hand how many more events of growth you're going to have. It's so many ebbs and flows to growth. And so when it comes to my music, people are saying this is a mental health tool. So when they find themselves wandering off from the path of wellness and well-being and centering their lives around self-care and talking to themselves better, they can literally take this finger and go push play. And then they're practicing wellness on the go. They're reprogramming their mind. There's his name is Dr. Joe Dispenza. He's one of the greats when it comes to practical, comprehensive knowledge around neuroscience and changing your mindset. And music is one of those tools that he talks about, meditative tools. So when you push play on this music, it's not just, oh, I'm healed now. Oh, I've grown now. I've changed now. It's something that you can take throughout your journey of growth because it's not a one-time event. It's cycles to this thing. It's ebbs and flows. Again, I said it's a messy process. It's a messy journey. And so this affirmation music is something that people can put in their backpack of tools to where they're saying, oh, I have something I can pull out while I'm going through this grief, while I'm going through this loss, while I'm, you know what I'm saying? It's like the human life experience is very complex. So those practical modern day tools are important. And music is I feel like it's one of those cheat codes because it doesn't require a whole lot of work. You just, again, take that finger and push play.
Now, I know in addition to your music, you've also written a couple of books. What can people find in your books?
So that is up and coming. So I have these conversational audiobooks that will be complementing my songs that will be launching January 2025. That will be one of my signature offerings and products where I have one song, one of my biggest songs, Take Up Space Sis. There will be a Take Up Space Sis audiobook that will be conversational where I'll be talking about what does Take Up Space Sis song look like in practice? What does that even look like? How do you practice it? And what was the brainchild behind the song? Like, what do these lyrics mean? So my audiobooks will be something that I'll be launching next year.
That's very exciting. Toni, how can folks find your music or even find you?
Yeah, well, generally you can go to my website. I am ToniJones.com. That's Toni with an I. All of the information about Affirmation Community, my music is on there. But if you are, on Spotify, YouTube, Amazon, you can find my music on all streaming platforms. And on Instagram, my tag name is I am Toni Jones. And again, that's Toni with an I.
I love it because I'm Kelli with an I as well. So Toni, we're already speaking.
we right here.
We have connected, and I've got my one finger, and I'm ready to push play right now.
Yes, I love that.
Toni Jones, thanks so much for joining us today. We really appreciate it, and best of luck with everything and your affirmation music. Thanks for joining me today for BizTV's Create, Build, Manage. Episodes of Create, Build, Manage are available on demand on the free BizTV streaming app. Visit watch.biztv.com and get BizTV programming anytime, anywhere. Stay tuned to BizTV for more stories that educate, enlighten, and empower.